I don't want everything to start with so.
I
So you
know,
might
but
have
you said that earlier, and you were like, I don't want to start with so. And the next word you said was so.
so that's when you continue and you stop and go like this, you want to continue with so.
I know.
The summer of 2021, we were having some beverages by your pool, by Brett's pool, and may or may not have had a little buzz. And Brett came in to use the bathroom, and I stayed out by the pool. And all I had was a 12 gauge shotgun that was no scope, nothing. It's not set up to be like prime time gun season deer gun. It's an old gun my dad passed down to me that he just wasn't using anymore. So, and I've used it for bird hunting before. So anyways, we knew that we were interested in a 450 Bushmaster. However, it was just a time of life where they were hard to come by at a decent price. Ammo was tough to find. Brett walks out of the bathroom, comes out on the deck, and I'm sitting there by the pool, and he goes, I just found a 450 Bushmaster and bought it while I was going to the bathroom. So I'm sitting there, and I don't know how many drinks I had, and I'm like, I could go to the bathroom right now. So I walk immediately into the bathroom, and I buy the exact same gun. So at this point, 2 Postals by 2 450 Bushmasters from Rural King to have shipped and delivered to the exact same Rural King. And then later on, Brett and I together went and picked them up. 2 Postals getting their guns. But it was exciting to have a good quality American-made hunting rifle. So, so I bought my first deer hunting gun on the toilet, and I'm very proud of that. I am very proud of that. I wouldn't say I was hammered, but I had a summer pool day buzz, and it led to for me, a very smart decision in my life. So anyways, gun season rolls around, and at this point, I realized I wasn't seeing any like big doe, and I thought for me it was odd because I feel like the year before I did. So I know that I had some when I was in the trees and I was watching them, but they were just not big enough for me to shoot. Could I have? Maybe, but I think every single time I made the right decision in not shooting those. So I had yet to get anything but Buster. And I really wanted to get a doe. I get anything with my gun. Is what I wanted to shoot it. I had sighted it in. I was excited. However, gun season was kind of a bust for me, I feel like. Nothing happened. And to be honest with y'all, I don't think I've really seen an active rut in my life. Granted, it's been 2 years. I have never seen deer going crazy, chasing bucks, chasing does, fighting, nothing. I've never seen that yet. So gun season was kind of a bust for me, but the good news is I have a gun, and it was bought on a toilet. Gun season sort of trickled on. Nothing happened. I wasn't sure I was going to get anything else. And you and I were kind of like chatting back and forth. Like, I know the other guys had kind of like their season had sort of slowed down. They weren't hunting as much. And you and I had the conversation like, hey, I wouldn't mind hunting longer into the season. And it was December 23rd. It was not a weekend. We went down. Obviously, it was right before Christmas, so we weren't working. It was a Wednesday. We went down because Thursday was Christmas Eve. we ended up going down, and I had I decided that I was going to go sit on the ground. You actually had recommended a place to me to just try. And it was nestled into a group of like 5 trees. And so it was kind of comfortable, kind of cozy. And it overlooked field. So, I knew right away that was going to be a hot spot right then. There was a lot of action. And then I had that conversation with you over since Nate's deer that I screwed up on, that I needed to make those quicker decisions. And I knew, so out of the corner of my eye that day, the deer were all coming either from my left, but typically most of them were coming from my right and moving out of the trees almost directly at me. And then they would cut out into the field. And I saw 2 doe coming, and I was interested in one of them. And I got ready to go, had my bow on her, and out of the corner of my eye, I could see a body moving to my right. And it was a good distance behind the doe, and ended up being a buck coming out of the trees. So I looked over, and I'm like, shit. I kind of like froze. And I'm like, I gotta accept the fact that I'm not going to pick this doe and give this buck a shot, because he might be following these ladies. You know, that's what's going through my head, is he's sniffing some ladies. You know what I'm saying? So I'm watching him, and I'm like, he's big. He's got a big body. And so right then I made the decision. I'm like, I'm excited about him. I'm going to do it. I could see his antlers looked decent, and without really being able to count because of my opticals, I'm like, I'm making a decision. He's a big boy. Like, that's meat. I got one more buck. Like, let's do this. Made the decision that I was going to get on him, and if I could get him to stop at the right spot, that I would take him. So the doe sort of trickled off to my left, but I was focused on him, and he slowly walked in, he got within probably 30 yards, looked good. I liked his body a lot. I don't say that often. I liked his body. And I had an opening in the field, and without knowing the distance, I had decided that he was also about 40 yards. And as he was walking, following the doe off to my left, I just had to do, beep. And he stopped, stared at me, and I fired. And it looked perfect. He did one of those. He sort of turned from broadside to straight head on to me. And he jumped, and then when he landed, his legs sort of gave out, and he was like scuffling around on the ground in the field. And I'm like, ooh, must have been a good shot, because he's struggling right off the get. You know what I'm saying? So I see him struggle to get 4 legs moving, and he heads north, and there's a woods right there on the other side of the field. And this is within, he's 40 yards, and it's about 15, 20 yards north of where he was, just to his side. He starts heading that way, and I can just tell he is struggling to move. And so I'm watching and watching and watching. So keep in mind, being newer into this, I've got the excitement flowing. I've been teaching myself over time with these experiences that the first one, you don't always follow him as well, So my goal is to just stare at him until I can't see him anymore.
Did you get it on camera?
Once again, at this point of the season, I was struggling with camera. And it's been something I've been focused on since the end of this year, is to organize my camera pieces and be better with it. So I got a lot of camera action in that spot. But as soon as this shit happens, and this is gonna be the biggest sort of hurdle for me to jump with filming. I never the idea of the camera being there is completely gone from my life when I have a buck that I'm going to shoot. And I get that I'm there for the buck, but I've got to be better with taking a second to turn on my camera. I get too excited, and it's going to be fine. We're going to get there. I think this is all part of the process, but I was able to watch him go. It was just you and I there that weekend, and I thought I saw him fall, and it was within 50 yards. I would say it was probably 50 yards to my left. In the trees, I could just see him. I saw him kind of drop, and then I feel like I saw his head just still sticking up, and he just kind of let it go. And then I couldn't see anything. But I was extremely titillated. I couldn't believe it. And I was happy to the like that I decided to shoot him. Whether he ended up being a 6 or an 8, because at that point he was one of the two. I knew I wanted his body. To me, it looked great. It was big. So, texted you and you said, all right, well, let's just, let's do our thing, keep hunting. And I would say probably an hour and a half went by, and it was that same process where man, he was 40 yards. He was a good distance out. What did I do wrong? Did I really see him drop? But, when you said you were done and we were going to meet to look for him, I walked out in the field to see where I hit him, to look at the ground and look for some blood. And I could just see where he had, been spinning around and struggling. And then I found my arrow, and it looked good. There was blood, and I looked off into the woods where he ran, and I could see him already from right there. I could see him on the ground. So I think I texted you at that point. I said, he's down. So it wasn't even really a track job for him. And unfortunately, and I hate to say unfortunately, I'm happy with him. He was an 8, maybe a younger 8. And I think when you look back, you could always say, I wish I would have let him go, but I was excited about it. It was a good hunt. It felt good. Meat in the freezer. He was a big body. Still an 8. But I called him Richard Dick Nubbins, because he had two of them were smaller nubbins. So it was another good buck. I was very happy. It was a great shot. I was very happy that I shot him right where I needed to, clean straight through, and I didn't have to do much of a track job. But with Richard Nubbins, I knew that I wanted to do another Euro mount and do it and do it all myself. So, with talking to you and figuring all of that out, it was fun to clean the skull, and then I boiled it, got it all done, and he's on the wall. So, and ended up finding the arrow that got Buster. So I've got the arrows with them, and I'm going to get some little plaques made and with their names on it. So Buster and Richard Dick Nubbins, down and out. It was a good, for me, my second season, getting 2 bucks, 2 good sized bucks and 2 8s. I'm very happy with that. I wasn't sure I would get, to me, I kind of had come to just believing that I wasn't going to get another deer that year. I wanted a doe, to be honest with you. I felt like I could possibly see a decent doe. I didn't end up getting a doe that year, but I'm good with 2 bucks, filled those tags and put meat in the freezer and got my Euro mounts done. So it's all good. It was a great 2021. And now, so for me, being my second season, I started with, the easiest thing for me to do to get into hunting was to get a crossbow. So that's what I've primarily been hunting with. Other than gun season, I hunted with the Bushmaster. And then, so after this season, having a good season, feeling like I was right on target with my shots, from 40 yards. It was just good. I felt good, and I knew I wanted to move on to a compound bow at this point. So being that Brett is, now switching to Left Eye Lopez, he had a right-handed bow, or right eye dominant bow that he is letting me use. So I have started practicing with that, and I'm starting to feel good with that. It's not warm enough to be outside shooting much, but my goal for the upcoming season is to what I'm thinking in my head for 2022 is to primarily what?
I thought you were going to say the trifecta, the crossbow, the compound, and the gun.
Oh.
That'd be amazing.
So yeah, that would be amazing to have the trifecta, to have a deer with every, gun, crossbow, compound bow. But really it's I want to switch over to compound bow primarily. I have thought that possibly if I do the ground blinds, I have my own tent that Brett got me for Christmas. So, I'm going to get that out, air it out for a couple weeks, before we set it up out on the property. And, if I ground hunt, I may use crossbow and then compound bow the rest of the time. But, that's sort of my goal for 2022 is to do more tree hunting, get my tent set up in the middle of the property, and then just get out there, start cleaning the property up for next year.
Brown buckaroo. Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Buster was 190 pounds dressed, correct? Dressed would be without innards, which is stupid to me because I would say that's undressed.
Feel dressed.
Okay. When I get dressed, I put things on. When I get undressed, I take things off.
I don't make the rules, man.
I'm just saying. So when I learned about that, I thought it was quite odd. Quite. Okay. How's the clipping? Are we good? So what's your plan?
Well, this is the B-roll.
So my thought is you would, you can even stand over there and you don't get my belly, right?
Nope. You
Okay.
blend into the background.
Am I a floating head?
No.
So would be for you to just sort of like my note, you would just read it to me. Like the drive down, pulling in a camp. So then I will, shish kebab Jones, the Gibbons. Well, let me have a sip of my water. I don't really want this to be too long. I don't want the Michigan State Cup in there because I'm not even a fan. Not a fan of any school. I'm not a fan of school. Okay. School is cool. It's not cool. School is not cool. Gun. Okay. Are you going to stand over there and I'm going to look at the light? Or you really want to watch me? Fuck the world, right, Jimmy? So the point for me would be, we're not even recording on camera, we're just talking about, and then you just cut out what you want.
And introduce yourself and explain what you're going to be doing.
Sure.
You're not going to look at the camera when you do that.
I gotta be serious, don't I?
So, you go. Remember, we're keeping it lighthearted.
You tell me when you want me to start. Should we just start whenever? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we'll start. You have Angel Road for the hunting season, so I would say this is your opportunity to introduce yourself and say what you're doing, what this is, what this video is going to be.
Never liked the introductions. I'm Adam, right?
I mean, you don't have to. You can just start talking, and I can just put your name on there.
Oh, I kind of like that. That's better. That's what they do on the real TVs.
Okay.
That's what we're trying. That's what my goal is to eliminate the.
There's more
Hello, this is Adam, part of the Angel Road crew. You've never seen me before, but here we go, 2021 recap. You're going to use that? Tito Jackson, come on! Okay. That's just the title.
The drive down.
Okay, so for me, it was... Do you want me to do an introduction or not? Okay. I'm just trying to think here. I want to do this. This is my first time ever doing anything on audio or video. Okay. So. Fuck your mother!
All saying it. Goes out though.